Yeah, Bob. You remember Bob, the guy that's gonna launch a nuclear attack?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that.
No, that's because you were too busy riding the "we did that" wave. You got any more abuse you want to hurl my way?
We are live.
We are live.
We are live.
Did I say welcome to the main event?
I'm not saying are you fun?
Oh, man.
Behave before you talk about what I'm talking about. Yeah.
We are live, as I'm saying. Mr. Blitztech.
Revenue GS.
LAJ.
And yes, welcome to the Secret Invasion breakdown discussion where we're just going to go through everything else in life. But if you want to be watching this with us, go to the patreon.com/cybernerds. And yeah, man, have a good time with us because this show needs to be broken down and discussed. Guys, what are you saying about Secret Invasion thus far?
I just want to start by saying it's good to be back with a good Marvel show. I feel like it's been a minute since we had a good time watching like a Marvel show, innit? Those are my first thoughts and feelings towards this show, man. I'm really enjoying it thus far.
In terms of that general aspect, I would say we're in a cool place. Do you know what I'm saying? We're 3 episodes in. The show's been decent, man. Like, it's had some good bits. It's had more good bits than bad bits.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm not like over the moon yet.
Yeah.
I want a full good season. I want to get to the end of the season and be like, yeah, I want more Secret Invasions. That's how I want. Even though we was discussing that, this is potentially the end of Nick Fury's story and then wrapping up everything there, I would still like to have the feeling of maybe even Armor Wars being season 2 of Secret Wars, because obviously Rhodey's in here and we're going to see where Rhodey goes. But that's the feeling I want to have at the end of this. So right now I'm enjoying the show. I think it's good. Excited to see more. Do you know what, yeah? Do you know who I'm not loving in the show? This is actually, I feel like this is going to get you, man. Nicholas J. Fury, fam. Yeah, man. He's not, like, I'm not loving him. I'm not loving him. I think I'm seeing too much of him. Yeah, I think I don't want to see Nicholas Fury at home. I don't want to see him making eggs. I don't really like... not to be funny. It's I like Nicholas Fury showing up. Yo, I'm here. We got to do this. And him dipping. And he does that in this. But the other 50% of it, it's just like, I'm like, this is weird to me.
Because it's almost like they've written down, it was like, we got to show a vulnerable side to this guy who's never trusted. For me personally, I'm like...
We don't.
Thank you.
And he doesn't have to be that person either.
Yeah.
He can just be Nicholas J. Fury. I'm hard 100% of the time. And that's cool because there's people out there in the world that are like that. Get me? So, I mean, it's a small gripe, but just with the character, like, when you're being exposed to a character that you've seen cameo in everything for 10 years and then being like, full dialogue. Even the fact that it's Samuel Jackson, it's not, I ain't got an issue with Samuel Jackson. It's legitly seeing this much of Nick Fury.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying?
It's funny because you said it, because I know last episode, that's one thing I was actually quite curious when he's having a meeting with Rhodey, and Rhodey's like, let's get the Avengers or whatever. It's like, no, this is something I have to do. And that's something that was in the back of my mind. Was like, you're not the guy on the field, so why this thing? Is it because you went away for 5 years, now you feel like you need to get active? Do you know what I'm saying? Like that's one question I kind of had from episode 2.
That's interesting because I feel like not that he's not the soldier, but he is a soldier.
Yeah.
Every op that he's involved in, at some point he fired a weapon. So I am gonna say,
because he gets caught. It's almost like he gets caught up in a.
I don't know if he's getting, bruv. He's actually the general. He's actually the leader of the thing. All of the weapons he's got are always bigger than him.
Right.
But he's always involved, bruv. And that's why, that's what I like about him. Do you know what I'm saying? He's not the guy in the painting that my man's talking about.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Nick's probably in the paint. He's in the back of the painting, and he's on the and he's doing it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Definitely doing the blood. But I feel like it's just like the reason why I feel like this could be like a ending for Nick Fury, because it does feel very personal. In today's episode 3, you find out that from time he knew about Skrulls, he sent them out doing spy work, being underground, which these guys are super perfect for, bro. They can infiltrate places that no one thought they would infiltrate. This, that, and the other, they're the perfect spies. Obviously, man's going to use them. So now that he knows that the guys that he brought into the world infiltrated the world, and they're kind of reversing that, I feel like for him, it's very personal.
It is his. No, it's very personal and his responsibility.
That's it.
So when he's like, "Yo, don't bring the Avengers in,"
Yeah.
I hear they'd be sitting right round the table talking about new accords. They're like, "Yo, Nick, hey Nick, hey Nick."
Exactly.
Hey, Nick, this is worse than Tony. This is worse than Tony.
Yes.
This is worse than Tony because the planet is about to get taken over.
Right.
From some people that he's been working, he's the I don't want to say he's the head of Hydra, but he's the head of the Skrulls, bro. Nick is the face of it, bro. So
Yeah, can you
it's
imagine him,
interesting.
like, they said that he's like the bench ball, which he wasn't, but like, he got an opportunity, put their man there. Imagine Nick Fury training these guys. You've been trained by Nick Fury, and now you got someone that, is it Bravik or Ravik?
Bravik.
Bro, the product of Nick Fury, look at him, look what he's doing. He's going to the leaders and saying, I can do this, you guys are just pencil pushers. They're standing up to him. I'm like, when I first saw that thing, I was like, right, is this what's really happening? But now I believe why.
Right.
Nah, and I like him as well. It's good that you spun onto him because I would say like he's probably the hardest thing in the show. You get me? Kingsley Ben Adir. And I know you was asking, what have we seen him in? Where have you seen him? He plays Malcolm X in, I've told you, man, about this movie, 4 Nights in Miami. One Night in Miami.
Right.
He plays Malcolm X in One Night in Miami. Yeah, he does. Because I was looking at his face and I was like, bro, I've seen this guy in movies. I've seen him. Yeah, he plays Malcolm X. He's hard as Malcolm X. Wait, have you seen it?
Yeah. I love it, bro.
Yeah, he's the guy who plays Malcolm X. And he's also playing Bob Marley in a movie that's coming out next year, 2024. And he's in a couple other things. I think he's in... Jesus, off the top, it's gone now.
Come on, Mr. Movie Guy.
He's in no. It's a show. He's
okay.
he cameos in a couple shows here and there, but he's legit in this.
No, he's like the best thing out of this.
100%.
Like, and I feel like they've done a really solid job. For obviously, he's a very good actor. And obviously, you just mentioned that it makes so much sense.
Plays Malcolm X.
Do you know what I'm saying? So like the lines they've given him has been solid, and this is what I like about this. Do you know what I'm saying? It sets the tone to what is currently and what it could be. And this is why I'm so enjoying it, because I'm like, bro, by the time we finish this, and we was talking about on the watch along, is like the possibilities of where we can go from here and set the tone for the next like level of Marvel, going past the BS that we've previously had, is so good. Like you said before,
potential.
If they go there,
there's big potential.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Big
because
potential.
it's so good, because we're talking about invasion from outer space, and then like I think it was like even last episode where they were talking about scientists and stuff like that, and he was like, "Yo, Rich Richards and them lot."
100%.
Like, and this
100%.
is where we can like the transition that you can go from here to the next phase and bring other superheroes. It'll be so seamless.
See, and the thing is, and this is where I feel like Marvel sometimes get too excited, because when we break it down, we're like, oh yeah, you can bring in more characters, and then they're like, oh, more characters, and they don't understand how you got to bring in these men. And it's like, you're not just bringing in Reed Richards because we need Reed Richards. You're bringing him in because he solves a specific problem that these lot are having, and then from him solving that problem, there are more issues that arise. And then, you know what I'm saying? Instead of just like, Lady 4. Do you know what I'm saying? And not that I've got anything against Jane Foster as 4. She's one of the best things in a movie. Right. But at the same time, it's like, you didn't, when you put her in a movie, like, they didn't give her enough, do you know what I'm saying, to be like, okay, yeah, we love it. You used it as a one-take bang. Now the character's gone. And it's like, yo, so why do we do that?
Yeah.
And you can't do that. Like, it's got to be lasting. It's got to stay, bro.
You got to understand the cause and effect of things. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is how it evolves. Like, even you saying like, let's bring Rich Richards. It'll solve something, but then you're opening another can of worms with Rich Richards.
And that's the thing that I'd love, because if you brought someone like Reed Richards in, yeah, I'd be like, look, you bring Reed Richards in. Imagine having Reed Richards for like a whole year in the MCU without bringing in his wife, without bringing in Johnny, and without bringing in his best friend, the Thing. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, we now know Reed Richards differently. So it's like, you're getting an aspect of, you see how Tony was? You're getting, okay, so I've got another Tony, but this guy's completely different. And he's completely different from Banner. And then you introduce his wife, and you're like, she's a scientist. You know what I'm saying? And you're reverse engineering what you did with Tony and Pepper with a whole brand new family. Like, I really want these men to succeed, bro, because these next phases we're going into could potentially be the best thing ever, bro.
It'll be sick.
But for me, like, the thing I like about the show the most, and I feel like what Marvel is kind of missing, is having your characters put into a genre. And the reason why I like this the most is because we've got like that spy espionage like feeling all over again. We had with Winter Soldier, we had with what was another spy? Was there another one? Or am I just?
What do you mean? I mean, most of the spy ones were
with Tony and
these man. Yeah.
But there's like this feeling here. I'm like, there's barely any jokes. There's barely. It's very serious. Even bruv. Hands being decimated, these men are shooting people. Obviously, there's Skrulls. I don't know if that is against Disney's Theos or whatever, but that happening, that's not every day.
I was very surprised with the amount of casualties going straight from episode 1.
I've got a question for you then. So, like, if you're like, okay, look, you've got to fit these Marvel movies into genres, which I'm going to say they haven't done in the past, but certain directors have done. Yeah, so like the Russo brothers did it. The brother who did Midnight of Multiverse of Madness did it. Sam Raimi did it with that. How do you then, because this is the conversation Marvel probably going to be having, is how do we get all audiences? Because they're not going to believe that kids are going to want to watch and understand this.
Yeah, but our kids...
I say it's been
on
10
Disney
years.
Plus, bro. Yeah, but
like, your audience has grown up.
Brand new... So what about a brand new kid today?
Then you got the Marvels for them. Like, I know, but like...
What?
Not every project. Like, when I think back to phase 1 through 3...
wasn't gonna... We would not have watched the Marvels.
No, look.
And listen, think about... Okay, look. Hear me out, bruv. Because you man have run a channel, yeah? And you see us. When Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. came out, we didn't watch it. Because we was like, no, that's not proper MCU. That's dead. Yeah? That was our sentiment. Now we're like, okay, all right. After all of the trash we've actually been through, we're like, hey, just chill, alright, it's cool. You get what I'm saying? So, saying the show today for the kids, so the kids are going to jump on Marvels, that's not keeping me as an MCU fan. Hawkeye, it's not keeping me as an MCU fan. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, just what I'm saying? Like, how do Marvel solve that?
I think through characters, because that's the ones that, and then when I say through characters, because kids relate to like the toys, the merchandise and stuff like that. So obviously there'll be like a pathway where you're growing up with it. Do you know what I'm saying? So obviously you've got the cartoons, the merchandise, stuff like that. And then when you get to a certain point where you're like, I want to watch the movies, when you see the posters, stuff like that, they visualize and be like, I want to go watch that.
So if you had to pick one tone for all Marvel movies for the rest, yeah. Now they can still go into genres, yeah, but it's got to be one tone, yeah. What tone are you picking?
I would definitely be dramatic.
When you say dramatic, give them a movie. So for anyone who's like confused to what we're talking about, it's like, let's say we was talking about DC. There's this Christopher Nolan tone. There's the There's the Zack Snyder tone, and there's the
Russo tone.
The previous. You would go with the Russo tone. The tone of Endgame, Infinity War, Civil War, and Winter Soldier. Like, this would be the tone.
Yeah.
Boom. That there.
Because I feel that action, not to say it's the safest, but it's what grabs everyone. You know what I'm saying? Because you got action in everything. You can have action in cartoons. We have action in cartoons. And that's something it's a lot easier to translate into live, and then that people just be onto it. Like, yeah, I want to see the fights. I want to see like all the stuff that goes with that.
So then what about when you want to do super comedy?
So then that depends on the character. But the reason why I said no to the characters, like, you can't keep introducing characters to get new people in. There has to be the writing. And then the writing is very important, because even with, let's say, introducing comedy, you would then know what tone you're going for. Let's say even Guardians, for example. So I would say that's more comedy than anything else. But when it is being serious, you're like, this is hitting a madness.
Do you think that fits into the Russo brothers' tone?
Not necessarily, no, but I'll say that's an outlier. Like, when it
because James Gunn's a good director, and has full creative control.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because I like the Guardians. It's funny because I think that the Guardians for me are obviously best when they're in the Russo brothers movies and directed, but I understand how they exist outside of it. Like, you man are like some funny, jokey people, and here you're funny and jokey, but at the same time, it's like, it's not overpowering to what's generally going on. Do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, they don't steal the scene
Yeah.
And if they are in the scene, then they're not like.
Yeah, they're just being them in the world midst of this tone. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas in their world, their tone is what reigns supreme. Yeah, bro.
So yeah, and that, for me, it's just down to the writers because I feel like they can go back to She-Hulk and rewrite that whole thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's say in a tone like not even tone, like I would say this is a James Gunn kind of tone. Even tone that line. Then when it comes to the actual serious stuff, they don't do a madness. But boy, we have to go forward.
I think there's nothing serious about that show. That's the issue.
Yeah.
There's actually not one serious thing about it. Like, they don't take themselves seriously. And now the writers for that show will be like, well, that was the point. We understand that's the point for you trying to make something, but that's not the point of the MCU. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly,
that's not what we kind of do here. So it's weird because it's like, I feel like She-Hulk's going to end up being an outlier of everything. Bruv, I say that because even Miss Marvel, yeah, it still fits in with the general MCU tone, even though we don't like the show.
Right.
It's like, oh, there's a character, this has happened to them there, this is how they experience it, and they're in here. Not, we're just going to make fun of ourselves, the character, the real world, and the audience, and ourselves as writers, because they also mention they're right, like, which is so weird.
You know,
like,
it's almost like when referees intervene in the game. Like, you're trying to be part of the game, bro. You're not.
part
we're
of
not
it,
here
yeah.
for you.
We're not here for you. Yeah.
You're here to just navigate.
Do your job.
Yeah, that's
do your
it,
job.
bro.
Do your
Like,
job.
We're not. You're not the entertainment, bro.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So,
What happened to you on Twitter last week, we don't care about. Like, get over it. Do you know what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah, like,
deliver
don't
the
bring your shit
stories, bro.
into
Yeah,
here.
man. Nah, that's good, bro. I feel like we got to the bottom of something right here, you know?
for sure. And
We got to talk about this on a podcast, bro.
With you saying that, like, then I'll definitely say then there's got to be a mixture of the character and the storytelling, because obviously storytelling is very important. That's what gravitates, man.
100%.
And obviously mentioning all these shows is like us coming in. Man, don't know much about She-Hulk. I didn't learn anything from her. Do you know what I'm saying? I didn't.
What?
It didn't captivate, man, to be interested in She-Hulk. As a matter of fact, it didn't even get me to go and read the comic, which is what usually happens to me.
And what I want to get to, the worst thing about it for me is it turned me off She-Hulk.
1000%.
I don't want to pursue that character because of that show anymore. And I've never felt that way watching bro, even with how dead Hawkeye was, like, it's still like, oh, maybe I'll check out the Matt Fraction comic book just to see the differences. In She-Hulk, it's like, nah, my She-Hulk is now just the animated She-Hulk and that door's closed. Boom.
Boom.
Get me. If she shows up in something else, I'm going to have to deal with it. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, that's not a feeling I want for any character in the MCU. Do you know, even if you don't like the character, it can't be one of those ones where you're like, I don't want to see the character. Do you know? Even Star-Lord, bruv. Like, my relationship with Star-Lord is very, do you know what I'm saying? It's up and down.
See,
But I don't hate seeing, man.
right.
And when I see him, I'm like, nah, what's this guy gonna do? Like, it's a back and forth. But with She-Hulk, it's just like, bruv, get off the screen,
It's
man.
mad because with me, it happened to reverse with Hawkeye because the trailer looked kind of good, so I was like, oh, let me go and pick up
Matt Fraction's thing.
book.
Yeah.
And that thing is sick. And then I get to the episodes, and I'm like, what is this nonsense, bruv? It's completely removed from the book. And then with the Guardians, after watching the third one, there's a new run coming through,
I'm gonna jump on.
and I've actually seen the aesthetics of it, which kind of pulled me. I was like, I want to give this a shot, even if I read 3 issues. It might not be for me, but at least I got there. At least you got 3 issues out of me. That's 3 comic books paid in going into your economy.
Upsell.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like it's a full circle. So obviously, if we're no like people are upset and talking about stuff, you guys got to remember, we're investing into the economy that keeps this thing running. Remember, a couple of years ago, the comic industry was in dire. Do you know what I'm saying? In terms of sales and stuff like that. And you guys got to understand that this helps the sales of the books. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I would even go further to say, like, for those who really go deep into it, to now invest in the writers. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that's something that I've gone into. Like, because before, but I'll just read comic books. I'm not here for I'm not paying attention to the pencilist, the illustrator, the writer. Now I am, because I'm like, oh, I'm also invested in you because I understand the kind of stories you want to tell. It's a full circle thing. So when you're giving us some dead shows, bruv, trickles down to destroying everything. So, yeah, man.
This show, like, I'm just hoping it does keep going up and up and up.
Same.
Because just, like, the beginning of the show, and even still now, just that unease of each character, like, especially Skrulls being able to infiltrate humans, there's only like there's a million of them, but you feel like they're everywhere. And because of that, I feel like the trust is just... Can I trust that guy? Can I not trust that guy? Like you said, it's an ongoing
unsettling tone.
Yeah, so and I do like that.
Yeah, man, I love that tone for something that is Nick Fury centric because Nick Fury is the master of deception. Do you know what I'm saying? So in his show, he's dealing with chameleons. Do you know what I'm saying? Master deceivers, people who are infiltrating. So yeah, man, I do love the tone of it. I do love what they're giving us with the show, man. I just want it to stick the landing, basically, because in the first 3 episodes, it's been good. Like, third episode for me has been the strongest episode so far. And I want to see where we go from here. You get me?
So it's the potential, and because they've been consistent. First episode was alright for me. Then last episode was like...
First episode was tough for me. Like, even I'm still not over the Maria Hill thing.
Yeah,
I'm still not, bro. And 2 episodes later, bruv, we've not really... We had the mum monologue that made me feel better for that episode. But I'm still heavily grieving. Heavily. And Nick's moved on.
Yeah. And I feel I moved on too.
You man are sick, bro.
Well, because that's... And this is what I'm liking about it, because of the stakes. Do you know what I'm saying? Of the potential of what's happening. And what's consistently been going.
I don't think that the Maria Hill death has been... Like, for Nick just to be like 2 days later, like... We ain't said nothing about it. We ain't thought about it. We ain't looked at a picture of Maria. I don't care if man's a secret agent and motherfuckers die every day for him. That's Maria Hill, bruv. She been with us riding, bro. She's in there driving the helicarrier, fam. Fam, what? There's no way. There's no way, bruv. I just need a bit. I just need something, man.
Yo, you lot, man. You guys gotta consult,
bruv.
My guy over here, man.
Get me, but that's like, yeah, 3rd episode strongest. 2nd one plugged me back in.
Yeah.
Get me.
With it. Up and up and up and up and up. But, yeah. So, do we give a rating on the current episode?
Yeah, man.
3?
Yeah,
man. What man saying?
Ratings.
I'm at a strong 3.5 to 4 for the show. In fact, I'm at a strong 3.5.
For this episode.
That's where I'm at. To be honest, that's kind of my for all. Do you know what I'm saying? I would probably rate episode 3 the highest, but I'm gonna let episode 1 and 2 pull it back to 3.5. That's where I'm at. Like, I'm good with the show.
I would give first episode a 3. Episode 2 and 3 a 3.5.
Calm.
Yeah, I concur with 3.5 as well. It's just good, you know what I'm saying? The characters are good. It's not messy storytelling. There's good narrative thus far. And I just like the way everything's going. And like I said, man, just stick the landing. Like, can we just continue with this unease of trust? And I want to bring it back to that. That's the reason why I'm also a bit iffy on Nick Fury at the moment, because what we're seeing through the movies, and then what we're seeing at the beginning of his career, and just say more or less the end of his career, don't seem like the same man.
But
it's a bit...
You see, with that,
Growth.
I know, but it's like it was this person here, and then like he's almost snapped back.
What do you mean?
Because obviously they show him back in
98.
Yeah,
95,
when he first met the Skrulls.
Yeah.
And it almost then seems like this madness is happening. Obviously, he's gone off to... What did they call it? Saber?
Yeah.
Went off to Saber to do all that.
Everything happened with the Avengers.
Yeah, everything that happened with the
Avengers. Then he got
whatever.
snapped out of existence.
That
Then he comes
well.
back.
Yeah.
Then he jumps on a spaceship and dips out. And now he's returned to Earth.
Yeah.
Boom. That's the timeline.
Okay. Maybe I just need to see more. Now come to that conclusion.
Okay. So but, you need to fill in that period. I gotcha.
Yeah. Well, I'm enjoying it so far, man. So hopefully next couple of episodes still gonna be a banger, guys. Let us know in the comments down below. What do you think of Secret Invasion thus far? Who do you like out of the characters? Are you liking the storyline? All them things there. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Sam, Mr. Blitztech.
Revenue GS.
LAJ.
Peace.